Hello, I'm your host, Amanda Hill-Ryle, with my podcast, You Choose You Now. I was living as a survivor with depression and suicidal thoughts linked to my limiting beliefs and inherited family narratives. I never put myself first. Today, I'm an inspiring mother and teacher, a best-selling author, and stand up to be seen, taking responsibility for my life and my value. What changed? I chose me and healed my wounded inner child and let go of what did not serve me. Are you ready to be fulfilled? And you choose you now? Join me on the journey of embracing your truth, healing your inner wounds so you can live your life with joy and not just survive. If you feel connected with my message, please choose to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Hello everybody, my name is Amanda Hill-Ryle and welcome to my show, You Choose You Now. I'm delighted to introduce my very first episode, which is entitled Who Am I? I've been on a long journey and am still growing, but I just wanted to share with you all how I have become the person who I was born to be. So here we go. I hope you enjoy it. Who am I? I constantly asked myself this question growing up. I believe this is a question everybody asks themselves at some point in their lives. During the life journey, we all experience so many different events, situations, meet different people, and these actually affect how we view ourselves and how we react within the world. What do I mean by this? At birth, I was given the name Amanda by my parents and learnt to respond to it until it became my identity and who I was. However, it is just a name, and one I didn't choose myself, so why is it me? I understand that our family is our first connection with others, but am I just a name in that family? Well, no, obviously I became a daughter and a sister to my siblings, and I was also a member of the family. Then at the age of 3, I went to play school, and there I became friends with other children. And after that, at the age of 4, I went into school. Now, this is the first major experience we all encounter. And at school, I'll be honest, I really didn't feel that I fitted in. I felt lost and confused about who I was meant to be. Looking back now, I can see that I did believe that I didn't fit in and that the judgments and attitudes from the other children had an effect on me. I remember being picked on by 2 older boys daily for an anorak I wore, and I was so scared of what might happen to me each day, so I decided to keep quiet and try not to be seen and hide my fear. So who was I at this stage? Just a frightened little shy girl who wanted desperately to be liked and accepted, yet inside I felt I wasn't good enough. Society tells us to follow a course in life, and that's usually being born into the family, going to school to be educated, maybe going on to university, then we're expected to get a job, buy a home, get married, have children, and then we retire. We might have grandchildren, and then society tells us that we have lived a full, happy life. But my question is, who gave us these expectations? Who actually explained the next step to take? I realise now that as a society, we have all been programmed with these expectations, and generally we do follow them to fit in. I believe society, with its rules, structures, expectations and demands, have programmed human beings into thinking that if they don't meet that given standard, we're not good enough and we're judged by others and not particularly in a positive way. As we grow, we take on different roles in the world. First, I was a daughter, a sister and a friend, but later I became a pupil, student, teacher, wife and a mother. And in doing so, all of those things, I lost myself. I asked myself, who is Amanda if I'm not all these roles? As a person, I can see the creativity and joy children possess naturally when they're very young. Think of a small child aged about 2 years old creating a sandcastle on the beach. They are curious about the texture and feel of the sand. They love the sound of the sea and what they can create with their imagination. Everything is viewed from a space of innocence, awe and wonder. They laugh and are free to be exactly how they are in that moment, and they have no worries. I realise now that as expectations from society are put upon us, and we go to school and conform to fit into what is expected of us, that's namely that we're put into a certain class due to our age. We then learn a set curriculum and we're tested at a variety of ages, and then those results we're judged and labelled. Our schooling continues in this way from primary right up until the end of secondary school. Now, I was fortunate enough to be an early years specialist, and in early years in the UK, children are encouraged to be their own curious, creative, innocent selves, learning through play and exploration. Through their experiences and interactions with young children, they find out what excites them and intrigues them to develop interests and passions. Unfortunately, this way of learning ends once children move into Key Stage 1 and beyond, as they are expected to follow a set curriculum which can stop their curiosity and creativity, as they are taught what to learn, how to learn, and to get results to be seen as a success. Success is happiness. That is what I was told by my parents, and this meant passing all my exams and getting a good job. Another one of expectations from society that my parents had brought into. But it has taken me a long time to realise that being educated, achieving exam success, and it took me quite a few failures before I passed all my exams, to get the job that finally I wanted, I still wasn't really happy. I can look back now and know that I was so busy in the doing, the achieving, the striving, or moving on to the next step of the expected journey, I never stopped to acknowledge my being. My husband used to say that I was so busy doing in life that I was in a rush all the time and never stopped. I admit it's true, or was true, more to the point. It was only on our 2-week annual holiday that I would relax, and without a list of tasks to perform and complete and tick off my list, that I actually rested. No wonder I always felt burnt out. Have you ever thought of being versus doing? Probably not. I certainly didn't until I realised that although I had a great job, an amazing husband and son, and a lovely home, I was still feeling empty and nothing seemed to fill that void. I took time to look at who I am. Now, Alessandro's mum was a title I received after he was born, and I lost the name Amanda for quite a few years to be referred to as Alessandro's mummy. Miss Ryle, and later Mrs. Hill once I was married, was my identity as a teacher, and although I loved my work with a passion, I still didn't feel enough inside. I knew then that I'd been conditioned by society, and this had stripped me of who I was as a child. I developed limiting beliefs that I wasn't good enough, I didn't fit in, I wasn't bright enough or pretty enough, and this led me to feel quite worthless. We all have those views, limiting views inside us. Ask yourself, what is yours? But I acknowledge that I lived my life doing but feeling worthless. In fact, my belief was that I was only useful and of purpose if I was helping other people and doing what others wanted me to do, no matter what. Yes, I became a people pleaser to be accepted for who I was. Brené Brown, an amazing author and speaker, says the most difficult part of our stories and lives is often what we bring to them, what we make up about who we are. Now, this was certainly true for me, as I constantly compared myself to others and I felt alone and empty. I now know that I survived my life by wearing a wide variety of masks that suited the roles I took on. They were very effective at getting the job done, don't get me wrong, but it was not the true me. I know that I lost my authentic self in childhood and just did what was expected or demanded of me to have a normal life. Sounds okay, but in doing so I lost my curiosity, my trust, my creativity and wonder. I was existing, but I was not living. I wondered constantly what my purpose in life was. Yes, I'm a great teacher and I love my job with a passion, so I know I was born to be a teacher. But as a newly qualified teacher, I followed the rules of what teachers should be, could be, and in doing so, I lost my spirit. It took me letting go of my dynamic energy, the masculine energy, which had allowed me to be very successful in life, and embrace my feminine magnetic energy to realize what I had forgotten. I thought I was my thoughts and my feelings for so long. No one had ever explained to me that thoughts just come and go and are our mind's way of keeping us distracted and out of who we're born to be. I have now named my ego or my mind, and when she starts, I acknowledge her presence and say, I hear you, I see you, but I'm not going there with you today. Making my mind or ego a person who visits me has really helped me stay in my true being, rather than running along with my inner critic and constantly making myself feel bad as I listen to my mind. Try it. Give yours a name. With this new awareness, it is amazing how free you can become to just be in the moment, conscious of where you are, the connections right in front of you, and in that moment, there is nothing to fear, avoid, or oppress. It was simply a life changer for me, and I can finally know who I was meant to be. I now know that my mind will not stop with its constant ramble and stories and judgments, but I can see it's not a part of who I choose to be today. Other helpful tips are asking the question, what for? What has this situation, the event, this person appeared in my life for? What can I learn with open awareness? This is totally a different approach from the one I took with the old me. The old me always asked, why me, why me? And even saying that aloud makes me realise how attached and committed I was to being the victim, feeling sorry for myself, playing the woe is me card daily. No wonder I was so tired and worn out constantly. Pain is mandatory, suffering is optional. So ask yourself, are you more committed to being a victim of low self-worth and the drama and stories attached to this belief, like the old me? Or are you ready to rise out of the pit of despair and free yourself of negativity, programming and inherited family stories, which do include the should-bes, the could-bes, the would-bes? I changed my language, and in doing so I've managed to reprogram the way I think and approach my life and new challenges. I let go of the demands and expectations of the must-dos, the should-dos, the could-dos, because they are all linked to my personal limiting beliefs. I embraced like a life raft, yet they've not helped me at all. Instead, they've kept me small, doubtful, limited. But no more. I choose me. Questions I now ask myself regularly are, what can I be? What are my dreams, and how can I lean into them without judgment? Why am I here? What is my purpose? How can I grow? I decided to believe in who I was born to be, a person just like you, full of love and joy. I enjoy showing up with enthusiastic energy to be my own CEO, that's Chief Energy Officer, because I now realize that our energy introduces itself before we even speak. With acknowledging that I am enough as I am, with this voice, this body, my mannerisms, I was born with all this, and it is perfect for my journey, my life, and embracing them, I can just be. As a people pleaser, I know that the opinions of others meant everything to me. I can now see how little trust I actually had in myself, as I craved and chased my fulfillment from the views of other people. One statement that changed my life and made me see how addicted I was to others filling my void is, thank you, but what you think of me is none of my business. Yes, I'll say that again. Thank you, but what you think of me is none of my business. And when I first said this, I literally had a huge meltdown, shouting, no, your opinion is everything to me. I'm nothing without it. Boom. That's when I first saw how little value I had in my own self-being, my own self-trust. There was nothing. Now, it didn't happen overnight, but with my new awareness, I can listen to the opinions of others and realize that's just their opinion and it's got nothing to do with me. I just believe and love who I am and who I'm showing up to be in this very moment. Basically, I do me, you do you. This does not mean that I don't care. After all, I know my heart and soul loves to support others. But instead of the need to be of use to others, that neediness and cravingness, I now respect that others are on their journey and they can learn through their own experiences. And I instead can be committed to who I am and stay in my lane. I am not responsible for anybody except me. Another life changer for me. and I'm responsible for how I respond to others. Now, responding and not reacting, I learned, is a huge difference. My emotions I took as my personality, instead of the visitors that they actually are, that come to us, do their job and leave. Instead, I took everything personally and reacted with anger and frustration, judgment and criticism, especially if people didn't agree with me. Yes, I like to be right. And as my husband said to me after watching Blindside, there was a scene with a woman and a husband having an argument, and the husband was right. And he said, "You admitting you're wrong must be like swallowing vinegar." My husband and I laughed at this at the time, and I took on that I like to be right. And by letting that go, I am so much happier, and our marriage is so much happier. So letting go of the need to be right, in control and validated by others has freed me of my ego's demands, and I can just be in awareness with curiosity and wonder, just like the child I was born to be. I realize that it's not just me who has this being and joy inside. It's actually inside every single one of us, but it's hidden away underneath the roles, the masks and layers that we've used to stay protected and safe. So I ask you, are you ready to start removing your layers? Is it time for you to let go? Only you can make that choice, but it has totally changed me from being a person of dramatic victimhood with low self-worth to one of open joy and wonder, seeing each day as a new opportunity, a new start, where miracles do indeed happen. I choose me. I choose to be responsible for me. I let go of blame and resentment and negative stories to grow a little bit each day in self-love, trust, faith and surrender to me. My inner child is healing, and together we're stepping into life with courage, vulnerability, wonder and authenticity that I'd forgotten existed in life. The time is now. There is no other time but this moment. So relax and acknowledge who you were born to be, and embrace your journey, your life, and you can see what is possible. Dare to open the lid of the box which society placed you within, and be free to be your creative, curious self with compassion and joy. Thank you for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this first episode. Please join me for my next episode on belonging. Bye for now. I hope you enjoyed listening to my podcast, You Choose You Now, and realise that you can choose how you live and show up in the world to make a real difference. Love who you are. I would love to continue our journey together, so please hit subscribe and join me for my next inspiring episode. This is Amanda Hill-Ryle wishing you joy, love and compassion. Bye for now.